I thought an interesting comment was made when somebody said to me, I heard somebody say, where's Mandela? Well, Mandela's dead because Saddam Hussein killed all the Mandelas. He was a brutal tyrant that divided people up and split families, and people recovering from this. So there's a psychological recovery that is taking place, and it's hard work for him, and I understand it's hard work for him. He said that I'm not going to give him a pass when it comes to the central government's reconciliation efforts. I also said in my speech, local politics will drive national politics, and I believe that. I believe as more reconciliation takes place at the local level, you'll see a more responsive central government.
People always called him, a stubborn old man, saying, Tata, father will always be with us. And I think there is this sense now, this inevitability that he's gone, that for once he's given up, and he's given up to the march of time, to the inevitable that people were expecting here in South Africa.
Perhaps Mandela was right that he inherited a proud rebelliousness, a stubborn sense of fairness from his father. And we know he shared with millions of black and colored South Africans the anger born of 1,000 slights, 1,000 indignities, 1,000 unremembered moments, 1,000 unremembered moments, 1,000 unremembered moments, 1,000 unremembered moments. A desire to fight the system that imprisoned my people, he said. A desire to fight the system that imprisoned my people, he said. Mandela taught us the power of action, but he also taught us the power of ideas. The importance of reason and argument. The need to study not only those who you agree with, but also those who you don't agree with. He understood that ideas cannot be contained by prison walls or extinguished by a sniper's bullet. As was true here, it took sacrifice, the sacrifices of countless people, known and unknown, to see the dawn of a new day. As was true here, it took sacrifice, the sacrifices of countless people, known and unknown, to see the dawn of a new day. He changed laws, but he also changed hearts. He changed laws, but he also changed hearts.
The South African government released more than a man today. It also released emotions that had been pent up inside so many South Africans. There's probably never been a day in the history of that country when so many people, black and white, were happy about the same thing.
I am Pharrell Williams, and I'm inspired by Nelson Mandela because I know that people will read his story, and there will be special people who will become inspired to do what he's done and even more. And they'll realize that, like, superseding what he's done is exactly what he wants you to do. The quest for freedom is an infinite one. There's always room to be liberated and lifted. I think the world needs more Nelson Mandelas because I think that's what he would want. He would want people to recognize their power. When you are aware of your environment and who you are as a person and how you affect other people, then that is equivalent to your power and your ability to share, useful information. I think the world needs more of those people, more people who are willing to recognize that they have the ability to change things. his voice and what he stood for echo throughout the planet. That will continue to inspire all of us.
And after 4 films, including Casino Royale and Skyfall, Craig is rumored to be exiting the franchise, but already a few names have been tossed around as his possible replacement, most notably Idris Elba. You think he can pull it off?
Definitely, Idris is fantastic. He's a wonderful actor.
It might be time to see an Irish Bond, you know.
Irish Bond?
Yeah.
No, Idris, come on.
Idris Elba joining me now from Los Angeles. Welcome. So good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show. Feels good.
So the Golden Globes are this Sunday. You're nominated not only for the BBC TV series Luther, which is one of my favorites, but also, of course, Best Actor for Mandela. You were at the movie premiere in London with Prince William and Kate. When you found out that Mandela died, that must have been a surreal moment.
Yeah, you couldn't write that. You couldn't write that. You couldn't write that. You know, it was beyond anything of anyone's imagination. It was very surreal. The audience, some of them knew that this news had passed, and some of them didn't. And so at the end, Anand Singh and I, the producer, we stepped on stage to read out President Zuma's official statement.
An historic flight to South Africa to pay tribute to Nelson Mandela. On board Air Force One with President and Mrs. Obama, President George W. Bush, and First Lady Laura Bush, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. On the way to South Africa, they gathered together in the plane's conference room, sharing their stories about Mandela. Stories that span 3 presidential administrations. Presidents Clinton and Carter are traveling separately to Johannesburg. The last time these presidents were all together was in April at the opening of the George W. Bush Presidential Library. But this event in a foreign country will mean much greater security concerns. Sources involved in planning President Clinton's trip to the 1995 funeral of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and President George W. Bush's travel to the 2005 funeral of Pope John Paul II tell CNN it can be nerve-wracking to depend on a host country.
The United States Secret Service is charged with protecting the president, and they do a lot of planning, and they're very good at this. The South Africans have challenges along a number of dimensions. The South Africans have challenges along a number of dimensions. The South Africans have challenges along a number of dimensions. In addition to security, they have logistical challenges.
Nelson Mandela's memorial service will take place in a soccer stadium that holds 90,000 people. More than 90 world leaders are expected to attend, and leaders of 6 nations will be among those speaking at the service, including President Obama, who is active in the anti-apartheid movement as a college student, attending and speaking at a rally.
I am one of the countless millions who drew inspiration from Nelson Mandela's life. My very first political action, the first thing I ever did that involved an issue or a policy or politics, was a protest against apartheid.
And President Obama is, as we speak, Wolf, en route to South Africa still. And we've learned some about the seating arrangements. He and Mrs. Obama are in their normal cabin. And then in the medical office behind their cabin, that is where the Bushes are. And behind that, the senior staff cabin, that is where Hillary Clinton is. Of course, when they are all not gabbing in the conference room, as we also learned that they did.
After they did, there's going to be potentially an awkward moment. As you know, Rihanna, Cuba's president, Raul Castro, will be sharing the same stage with President Obama. They'll both be speaking at the memorial service. How's that expected to unfold?
That's right, and this is something that could be unexpected, Wolf. Because previous officials to other trips like this have said that, sometimes you can't necessarily keep these foreign leaders apart. It's sort of a feat of maneuvering. But there is a portion of the service where you have six
foreign leaders who are paying tribute to Nelson Mandela. President Obama will be the first of the 6. Raul Castro is the last to pay his respect, but they are sharing a stage. And I think it is interesting that you have, obviously the U.S. and Cuba, which were enemies during the Cold War, certainly not the friendliest of nations, but you have Nelson Mandela, who in life was so unifying in South Africa and inspiration to others, even in his death. He's unifying some unlikely here.
The young people around the world, you too can make his life worth your own.
This is the piece we should really dwell on.
You too.
His partner, Archbishop Tutu, the Arch, as we call him.
Is that what you call him?
We do, yeah. He introduced the Edge. This is the Arch. So he's amazing. If I don't do what he says, Mandela is very persuasive, but the Arch is an extra level. If I don't do what he says, if you don't do that, I will personally see to it that you do not get to heaven. If you don't do that, I will personally see to it that you do not get to heaven. The Arch, I can't wait to see him tomorrow. I love him so much. Think of these two men, they came out of the same neighborhood. It's extraordinary, God's provision for this country, because you can't explain how this tinderbox did not go off. It's miraculous.
People, especially young people today, don't remember what apartheid truly was like. Don't remember the reality of what life here was for the majority of the population.
For South Africa, those few steps have altered the course of history. Just a country on the path of change, which many say cannot be reversed.